received my SD-4050 Pro. Thought I'd unbox it for you guys. I know everyone's pretty excited about this new welder, myself included. I wanted to see what was in the box. So, open it up. Power cord comes pre-attached. Just one box of accessories in here. Looks like we've got a MIG torch liner, probably for the aluminum. Plasma cutting torch. Some hoses, probably for the plasma cutter. The MIG torch. Not sure what this little brush is. Maybe that's an attempt at cleaning slag. I'm not sure about that. The arc weld attachment for stick welding. 110 adapter, so you plug the main cable into this and you can plug in your 110. The TIG torch, also included with the, looks like a couple of consumables in here. Tips and things, cups. Ground cable. A couple of rollers for the wire feed for MIG. Looks like one extra tip, probably of a different size. A couple gas fittings, a couple clamps, and some O-rings. So we're gonna go ahead and get this put on a cart, get some wire. Just one box. And this is the regulator for the plasma torch. So it looks like there's a bracket and something else in a small box here. The gauge, pressure gauge. All right, I went ahead and picked up this cheap $100 cart off eBay, and I'm just going to place the welder right on top of it here. Looks like it fits pretty good. On the back, let's see, we got, looks like the mount for the regulator for plasma. We got a gas connection, looks like two gas connections, MIG gas and TIG gas, and then an on-off switch. We open up the side panel. This is where you're going to put your MIG wire. You're going to feed it through here. I'll show how that works in a moment. This is for switching your polarity. You would switch that for your flux welding, your MIG welding, different types of materials. It just depends. You have to look that up based on the material that you're welding and the process you're using. So we're going to go ahead and put some wire in this thing. For the smaller 2-pound spools, you're not going to need this adapter that's on here already. For the larger 10-pound spools, you will need this adapter that's on here. And you can see there's a large hole in the center. So let's see how this works. We will unscrew this. And again, looks like we're gonna throw this on here with the drive pin in the small hole here. And we're gonna thread this back on. Looks like it's a left-hand thread. And we got 2 washers, a spring. We're going to put one washer on, then the spring, then the other washer, and the nut. And you really don't want to tighten this per se, you just want a little bit of drag so that the spool doesn't unwind itself. And that's what the spring's there for, is just to provide some tension. I'll get a ratchet and tighten that up a little bit. So let's see, to feed the wire in, we're going to loosen the tensioner. Swing that out of the way. See that spring loaded. Now I don't know what size is on here for a drive wheel, so I'm going to go ahead and pull it right off of here. Oh, it's metric, 0.8, 0.9. What was the one that was included in the bag? So we got all kinds of different rollers here. I'm going to figure out which one I need for 23 thou wire, because it is in metric on the rollers. I have inches in the wire, 23 thou. Let me go figure this out and we'll be back. So the first problem I'm running into, it does not come with the small roller for 23 thou wire, which is what I want to run. I have a use case for some sheet metal, some thin work. So I'm going to have to find a roller that's compatible with the small diameter wire. What it does come with is a roller for solid wire for 0.9 millimeters or 0.8, which is roughly 30 thou or 35 thou wire. It also comes with a roller for flux core, which is thicker, and a roller for aluminum. So I do not have the proper roller to feed the wire that I want to run right now. So I will have to purchase a roller before I can get going here. So for those of you wondering how do you run wire into this, you're going to take your wire, feed it through that small coiled cable there. It will come out the other side. You simply run it through the second needle here, feed it through the roller. You're going to close that, flip the lever up, and then put some tension on it. The way that you adjust that is you put a little bit of tension on it, you go to the MIG gun, you put it up against a block of wood, pull the trigger. What you want is for the tensioner to be as tight as possible without driving the wire into the block of wood and coiling it up. So you want it to slip just a little bit, at least with solid core wire. All right, now we're going to attach the MIG gun. So we take our connector here, we stick it into the port, and just tighten down the retainer ring. Okay, and then I'm just going to wrap it around these hooks here, and we're ready to go. So we pull up the, whoa, that's a little awkward. I'll probably just either leave it up or take it right off of there. It seems to want to stop halfway up and it's kind of in your way and obstructing you. But at least you can move it up. So the dials feel nice. Nice tactile buttons. All right, let's get some power to this thing and see what happens. Okay, I've plugged it in. I'm going to fire it up. Fan comes on right away, not unexpected. And let's see, it comes on set for TIG. We can select through MIG, SimMig, MIG Pulse, Cut, MMA, which is your arc, and TIG. So it looks pretty good. All the buttons work as expected. We can select wire size. Nice. Looks like everything works as expected here. Not sure exactly what all these buttons do yet, but we will figure it out as we go. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and assemble this regulator here for the cutting. That's for the plasma torch. And I have no idea what I'm doing, by the way. I didn't read the manual. We're just going to go ahead and assemble this. So we've got 3 ports on this. There's an arrow for direction. So our source needs to go in here. This is the output. I'm going to put this bracket on. And we might want to install this on the welder first. Nah, let's just go for it. Put the locking ring on top. It's got this little tab here. I'm going to make sure to line that up. And then we have to get these plugs out of here. We're going to put some fittings in this. It does come with the fittings, but I see there's no Teflon tape. So you want to put some thread sealant or some Teflon tape on these. It should be pipe threads. We're going to do that and then thread these in here so it'll look like this. And then you're going to pull this front plug out, and that's where the gauge is going to go. Now, I did notice this is not in PSI, which is what most of us here in the US at least would use. So you can either do some math or you can buy a proper gauge with PSI measurement on it. This does not have a PSI scale, but same thing, we're going to put some Teflon tape on that and just thread that in until it's tight. Use a wrench on the back to make sure that's tightened up so that it doesn't leak. So I will go ahead and install some tape, get these fittings tightened up, and then we will put it on the machine. Okay, we're looking at the back of the machine. I've got the regulator assembled with my 2 barbed fittings in the sides and the gauge in the front port. I can't screw it up because that is a smaller port than the thread's different. So I'm going to take these nuts off of here, the regulator bracket in place, and get these nuts started. Next thing we need to do is hook up the hose. So you can see the arrow on the regulator / water trap, and it's pointing in this direction. That means the feed has to go here, your supply, and the output goes on this side here. So we're going to take a hose clamp, included in the kit, put the hose on here, tighten it up. And we'll take another hose clamp, go around to the other side here, wrap this around, put it on the input to the welder, and tighten up that hose clamp. Now what I don't like is this seems to have a kink in it. Should go away once there's pressure in it, but you might want to use a length of that other hose that it comes with and extend that a little bit so that it does not kink. Next thing we're going to do is take the included gas hose. We're going to thread it into the back of the welder, and this is used for your shielding gas, typically either an argon or a 75-25 mix. And tighten that up with a wrench. Okay, one mod that I can tell that I need to do already is they give you a barbed fitting here for the input to this regulator, and what I'm going to do is swap it out for just a regular air fitting for shop air. You're technically supposed to use like a nitrogen in this because it's dry, but as long as you keep the air dry, you'll be all right. So I'll run an external dryer as well as this water trap that's built in. And I'll put this here. I'll just connect my shop air to it, and that'll be my plasma supply. Now to do TIG welding, you will need to swap this out, your supply here to the welder, for a shielding gas, argon, 100% typically. All right, I've swapped that out. I've got an air hose connected to it as my supply. You can see that kink kind of straightened itself out there due to the pressure. And I'm guessing if you crank that up a little more, it would be even better. Alright, now we have the ground cable, and we're going to take that and install it into the negative port here. Just give it a little twist, locks into place, and then you're ready for grounding that to your work and welding.